Hey guys, Dan here for BladeReviews.com, and today I'm going to be doing a little knife comparison. I often get asked, what would I recommend amongst the cold steel lineup? Would I recommend the Recon 1, the AK-47, or the American Lawman? And I'll tell you, they're all excellent knives, and personally, I kind of prefer the American Lawman the most, but that's just me, and frankly, who really cares? I think I'd be more interesting and it'd be more valuable to just get all three models here on the table and go over some of the similarities and differences so you can form your own opinion and see what works best with your style of carry and what you need to get done with your knife. So let's do just that. So I'd like to start us off and kind of talk about some of the specs here. I've got them lined up in terms of length. So the Recon 1 is the longest. It's got an overall length of 9 3/4 inches. The AK-47 here, it's got an overall length of 9 inches, and then the American Lawman, it is 8 1/8 inches long. So they are a little bit different in size, and to some that might be kind of surprising. I know, a lot of people might just think that this is three versions of the exact same knife. There are a few kind of interesting differences. So right off the bat, you can see they do vary in size somewhat substantially, I guess. The Recon 1 is also not the heaviest. So even though it's the longest, it's not the heaviest. It weighs 5.3 ounces, and the AK-47, it actually weighs 5.5 ounces. And again, the American Lawman, being the smallest here, it weighs 4.5. So 4.5 ounces. So again, kind of interesting. If we're going to start looking at the blade shape, you can see that the ones that I've got on the table are pretty similar. But you may recall, if you saw my Recon 1 review, that they've got two different blade shapes here. So this is the clip point version, and then they've also got a Tanto version. So if you're a fan of Tanto blades, well, the Recon 1 might be your choice here, because it's the only version that comes with a Tanto blade shape. But if you want to know what these other ones have, well, if you can't already tell, it's another, it looks like a clip point. It might be a modified clip point since it doesn't actually dish out. And then you've got a drop point here. So minor differences. They've all got pretty high hollow grinds, and I think they're going to perform similarly, at least as far as slicing goes. They're going to be all pretty good slicers. These have the swedges, so they're going to be perhaps a little bit better at penetrating. And of course, the Tanto blade shape is just, it's known for its ability to penetrate material. So again, you've got some minor considerations there. Let's talk about the steel, and they all feature the same AUS-8A, for better or for worse. It's a mid-range steel. It's not bad steel, but there's, of course, more exotic offerings there that offer better retention and stuff like that. Edge retention, that is. And you've also got this black Teflon coating on all three models here. And again, for better or for worse. I know some people aren't huge fans of it. I kind of ripped on it a little bit, but just depends on what you really care about. Let's take a closer look at the handles here, which are all going to be constructed very similarly. Let's pull up this American Lawman. You can kind of see what I'm talking about. None of them have any liners. They're just two slabs of G10. They're going to all be closed back knives. You're going to have that triad lock and then some sort of aluminum spacer. Everything is going to be screwed together. You're going to have these pins here that'll be able to be taken out if and when you disassemble the knife. Everything's nicely finished. All the corners are going to be very well rounded on all these knives. And it's going to feel very nice and comfortable, although we'll get into ergonomics in a second. The AK-47 here is kind of interesting because it's got this non-lethal impact device here, this glass breaker, skull crusher, whatever you want to call it. So that's something that the other two models don't have, and it might tip the scales. This might be something that you're really into that the other models don't have. And the Recon 1, like the American Lawman, it's just got regular aluminum backspacer. Let's see here. What's next? Let's talk a little bit about the ergonomics. And I think the one with some of the most aggressive ergonomics is this AK-47 here. You can see it's got two little areas for your finger, and it sort of makes your hand sit back on the knife. you can choke up on it a little bit, but really I feel like this one's designed to maximize reach, and in fact you can even kind of slip back on it a little bit further and really maximize reach. I think that this AK-47 is probably the most aggressive of them all in terms of maybe like raw fighting power. If you're going to use this as a weapon, if I had a choice between the three, I would probably pick the AK-47 if I was just looking for an all-out weapon. But the ergonomics on these other ones are pretty nice too. The Recon 1 has got 2 finger grooves up front, so you're kind of grasping more towards the middle of the knife. And again, it's quite comfortable, totally functional, and you can choke back a little bit on it, although it's not going to support your pinky quite as much as that AK-47. Now, if you're looking for just an everyday working man sort of EDC knife, and you're using your knives more as tools than weapons, or at least you'd like to, the American Lawman is probably your best bet here, because what you've got is this 50-50 choil, and it allows you to really choke up on the knife. This is my personal favorite, and mainly for this reason. I just like the ability to really get up in there and get some work done. To me, that's a big deal, since again, I'm not a martial artist or anything like that. I like this because from a good tool standpoint, this thing is very functional, and it's also a little more understated than the other two, but that's neither here nor there. Let's talk a little bit about the pocket clips, and all three models are going to have the exact same pocket clip. The American Lawman and the Recon 1, the clip is going to be really far back on the knife. You're going to have a nice deep carry, whereas the AK-47 here is going to be having a lot more sticking out of your pocket. It's not going to be nearly as discreet. You're going to have all this stuff sticking out, and that may be an issue for you. It may not. Just putting it out there. So there you go. So that's the pocket clip. As far as deployment goes, both the Recon 1 and the American Lawman, they have these thumb studs here. They're kind of lopsided thumb studs, but they are easy to get at, and you can reverse them with a screwdriver, a little flathead screwdriver. They're very nice, easy to get at. The AK-47 sort of diverges from that model in that it has this thumb plate that also can be used as a wave feature. So you can actually wave that thing off your pocket. And again, is another reason why I might pick this one out if I'm looking for an all-out fighting tool, because you're going to be able to deploy it much faster than the other two. Finally, let's talk about the choice of lock here. Well, they've all got the triad lock, very robust locking mechanism, so there's really nothing to say about that. There's no blade play in any of these, suffice to say, and they're all going to be pretty strong. So I think that pretty much covers all the stuff that I wanted to talk about, and I'm looking at the time here, and we've been talking about these for a while now, so I think I'm going to wrap this one up. But please let me know if you have a particular preference here. Maybe you really like one for some reason. I'd definitely be interested in hearing what your thoughts are on these three knives. I happen to think that they're all really good, great values for the money. You're looking at around $45 to $60 for these if you're going to buy them online, and you really can't go wrong with any of them. But if you have the choice between the three, sometimes it makes sense to sort of weigh the various pros and cons, or at least the differences between the three knives here. So I hope this was helpful if you happen to find yourself in just such a situation. Alright guys, this is Dan for BladeReviews.com. Thank you so much for watching. Again, just let me know if you have any comments or questions. And please take care, be safe, and I'll be back soon with another knife video.